Welcome everyone. Welcome to our Glenlawn Family of Schools Town Hall. I'm Christian Mischlik, Superintendent of the Louis School Division. Before we start, I'd like to acknowledge the land on which we gather is Treaty 1 territory and the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, Innuit, and Dakota peoples, and homeland of the Métis Nation. Over the next hour or so, you will be hearing from principals, students, and parents from the Glenlawn Family of Schools, and we'll get to see all of the great things that have been happening in these schools. We presented to students and staff this morning, and with all of the great features, we ran a bit over time. And so hopefully you'll stick around for the Q&A if the time's extended beyond that hour. If you'd like to ask a question, and I've been checking the thought exchange this evening and for as long as it's been up. If you'd like to ask a question about anything that's top of mind, please submit it through our thought exchange. You've been seeing the slides. You can either scan this QR code, I just tried it from my phone, it worked just fine, or go to tejoin.com and put in the code on the screen. The link is also available on our social media channels, so if through the course of the evening you're wanting to ask a question and the slide's no longer up, just go to Twitter. I know this year has been so different from our typical way of being with each other, like me, you haven't had the opportunity to visit our schools and to see for yourselves all of the safety measures that have been in place. But beyond the safety measures, all the exciting stuff that also is happening in schools. So our hope is to have each of our 7 family of schools host the town hall over the course of the coming months, like this evening. And I want to thank Glenlawn for being first. All students, staff, and families are being so courageous in finding the strength to navigate this pandemic. And we want to acknowledge the struggle, but also celebrate that community effort. From collectively finding a variety of ways to achieve 2 meters of physical distancing right from the start in September, to adapting to all of the new protocols, and they're forever being refined, and everything in between. I've been so impressed and so grateful to everyone. I'm also very grateful for the colleagues that are joining me this evening. I'm in the room with Assistant Superintendents Henri Péloquin. Say hi, Henri.
Hello, everybody.
Marlene Murray. Thank you. And Lisa Aiken.
Hi, everyone.
Each leads several divisional departments and task forces with respect to the pandemic this year. And they also liaise with a specific family of schools. That liaising this year is all about, first and foremost, safety, but also ensuring that we find ourselves productive, we find ourselves joyful, and that we do that with inclusivity and engagement at the heart of it all. So Lisa is the liaison assistant superintendent for the Glenlawn Family of Schools, and I'm handing it over to Lisa.
Good evening, everyone. I've been the liaison assistant superintendent for the Glenlawn Family of Schools for 6 years. And for those of you who may not be familiar with the term family of schools, it refers to the name of the high school and all the elementary schools in that high school's catchment area. So in our family of schools, the schools that it consists of are Minnetonka School, Dr. Penner, Glenwood, Windsor, St. George, Samuel Berlin School, and Glenlawn Collegiate. An important feature of the family of schools structure is the support and collaboration schools offer each other, along with building of community that extends beyond that of each individual school. Over the past several years, the staff of the Glenlawn Family of Schools have joined together as one learning community where learning and expertise has been shared and developed across schools. Last year, the focus of their professional development was on land-based learning. Tonight, throughout the presentations, you'll see the incorporation of land-based learning. You'll also hear and see how important belonging and building community are within our schools. I want to extend my appreciation and thank all staff in the work they do each day, and to the family of schools who are sharing their story with us tonight.
Thanks, Lisa. Now let's hear from our Board of Trustees.
My name is Louise Johnston, Chair of the L'Oreal School Board. I've been a member of this board since its inception. I'm a lifelong resident of the division. This provides me with a great deal of perspective into the culture, core beliefs of this division, as well as a strong understanding of the identity of our community, the hopes and aspirations that we have for our children and our schools. This pandemic has affected all of us in so many ways. Your school board, senior administration, and every employee of this division has and is making it a top priority to do everything to help keep our community safe and supported. We continue to be committed to providing high-quality education that is equitable, engaging, and accessible to all students. I feel now more than ever the need to renew our efforts in advocating on behalf of everyone in LRSD to ensure the resources, tools, programs that reflect the needs of our community are available in LRSD now and in the future. It is so important that we find opportunities to stay connected, share, and support each other. These challenging and anxious times are very frightening. Please know that you and your children are part of a school division that is doing its very best right now. LRSD's strength is in its people, including all of you, and I'm confident that we will get through this together. I'd like to introduce Pam Kolchuk, Vice Chair of the Board. Pam?
Thanks, Louise. While I didn't grow up in the L'Oreal School Division, I have been part of the community for over 15 years and have two girls who attend school within LRSD. From the boardroom table to the classroom, I've been connected to our schools as a parent, through preschool groups, parent councils, and now as a trustee. One of the true joys of this position is being able to talk to people in LRSD and having them share their stories of success, but also give feedback on ways we can improve too. While it has been harder to do this during a pandemic, it is always great to hear from the community. Those one-on-one conversations help me as a trustee understand what's working and where we could do better. It also gives me insight into what people in our community need, what's important to them, and how I can support them. I encourage all staff, students, and families in LRSD to reach out to myself or to any of the other trustees to share your thoughts, your concerns, or even to let us know about someone who's doing some great things or making a difference in our schools or neighborhoods. Working together, we will get through this and anything else that comes our way.
Thank you, Louise and Pam. Now let's hear a few words of encouragement from Pahan, a member of our valued Council of Grandmothers and Grandfathers.
I'm Kushi Paha Ptesawi, or as the children say, Kushi, which means grandmother. I want to tell you a story. At one time I lived in Yellowknife, Northwest Territories, and I knew an elder, a Dene woman, and she told me this story about her life. When she was small, the authorities came and they took all her older brothers and sisters to residential school. And as the years went by, of course they went, and sometimes they came back over the summer. Her parents decided that they were not going to allow her to go to residential school. So instead, when she was old enough, they took her and they moved into the bush. And they took a dog team and a trapper's tent with a stove inside, and they went and they hid from the authorities and to stop her from being taken to residential school. And when she lived out there, she lived with her mom and her dad, and she lived with a couple other of her family members. They had to hunt. In the summertime, they went to fish camp. They lived in this trapper's tent with a stove to keep warm in the wintertime. And she's one of the few people in my life who I knew who actually was raised living a traditional lifestyle, away from the impacts and the influences of what they call the Southern world or the non-Indigenous world. She spoke her language. She learned about her culture and her spiritual practices. And this was at a time where it's not that they lived in a community with other Dene people who were also living this way. For the most part, they were isolated. And that meant that if they had a crisis of some kind, if someone was injured, there was no 911. There was no satellite phone to get them out of a trouble. All they had was a dog team. Nobody knew where they were. And if they ran out of food, there was no store that they could go to purchase what they needed. They had to be self-sufficient. She told me about two interesting things that I had never heard before. The first was that she said that when she eventually grew up, and she went to residential school after she was 13 years old, and started to learn about some of the ways of the people in the South. I remember her telling me, she said, when I learned that there was such a thing as panties and I didn't have to use rabbit skin for my underwear, she said, I bought a whole bunch of them so that I didn't have to wash them every other day. And that was hard for me to comprehend. And the second thing she told me is that she told me of this time when they were traveling somewheres and they used up all the food they had in stores, and they weren't able to find any of the animals that they hunted, which was ptarmigan in the winter, caribou, and of course so much fish in the summertime, and they had no food. And you know what her father said to her? He said, now is our time to fast. And they went about their work and they went about their life on the things that they needed to do to survive and to find the food that they were going to need. They didn't panic. They didn't find themselves drowning in fear. They simply recognized the situation that they were in, and they made a plan to solve it, even if it meant having some difficulties for a while. Those difficulties would end someday. So this is what I say to you. Now is our time to fast. Fast from the way of life that we've been accustomed to all our lives, from being able to hug each other, from being able to kiss each other, from being able to sit close to each other, from being able to have gatherings of small and large amounts of people, from being able to go on holidays and do all those things that are so important to us and that we find it difficult to do without. This is our time to fast. Yes, it's difficult. Yes, it's different and it's uncomfortable, but we're going to get through it and we're going to get to the other side, and we don't have to panic, and we don't have to be drowning in fear, because it's going to be okay and we're going to get to the other side. Thank you so much. Sending you lots of love and always making prayers for you. Mitakiwes. Piramayapie. Pirataka. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Pahan. We are going to get through this. Up next, we're going to hear from Leah, who's currently attending our Learning from Home school, but is also a proud Samuel Burland community member.
My name is Leah, and I am in grade 7 attending the Learning from Home school, and I am also a student from Samuel Burland School. A typical day in learning from homeschool is pretty simple. I have a full daily schedule that has about 3 meetings each day and independent work time in between each class to work on assignments. My classes are all academic subjects, including practical arts. The best part of being learning from homeschool student is that I get to interact with the other students across LRSD. I think it's a great idea to have class recordings in case anyone misses out on a meeting, and the amount of time that I have for independent work time is very useful. What I've learned during this experience so far is that I have become more responsible and independent with my tasks, and I have also become more open with socializing because I can be shy if I was learning in person.
Since learning from home school is right here in the board office, I, along with my colleagues here, have the opportunity to pop in and get a behind the scenes look into how it all works. To give all of you that same behind the scenes opportunity, now let's take a look at what's happening at 7 of our schools. Please remember that these videos were recorded a few weeks ago, so the protocols may look a bit different. First up is Minnetonka School.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jason DeBow, and I am proud to be in my second year as principal of Minnetonka School. We are a kindergarten to grade 8 school located on the banks of the Red River in South St. Vital. We are proud that the origin of our school name comes from the Dakota word Minnetonka, meaning great water. We are blessed with beautiful views of the river, a lush forest, a charming courtyard, and wide open spaces to learn, play, and be together. At Minnetonka School, we consistently strive to always be kind, be useful, and do our best. This motto can be seen and heard throughout the school community and is the foundation of who we are as Mustangs. We currently have 160 students coming to our school, and we look forward to welcoming more back who are currently learning from home. To help realize our mission, 13 teachers, 11 educational assistants, 4 teacher candidates, a community liaison worker, and hardworking custodial, clerical, and clinical staff help support us. Our school goals are focused on the quadrants of the Circle of Courage. In general terms, the staff at Minnetonka endeavor to foster the values of belonging, mastery, independence, and generosity. Simply put, as we celebrate who we are as Mustangs, the land we inhabit, we foster critical thinkers through inquiry-based learning and through service learning projects that support our community and beyond. We are the Minnetonka Mustangs, and we say that proudly every day. I would now like to pass it along a video to grade 1-2 teacher Kim Sawyers and grade 7-8 teacher Ann Baczynski, who will celebrate our increased focus on land-based education.
Imagine a school along a river beside a colorful forest with an amazing courtyard that has a butterfly, bee garden, and a teepee. We have one right here in LRSD, Minnetonka School, home of the Mustangs. Restore balance. Most children have technology, school, and extracurricular activities covered. It's time to add a pinch of adventure, a sprinkle of sunshine, and a big handful of outdoor play.
We packed the sunflowers and dissected them, found a lot of seeds in them, even counted them. We will plant the seeds in the spring and see if they will grow. One sunflower even grew taller than me.
I like the apple tree in the courtyard. We picked apples and made applesauce. We wonder if the pumpkin will melt. We wonder if a new seed will sprout.
I noticed animal tracks. We think we saw a fox then.
So the grade 7-8s here at Minnetonka, we did some land art at our nearby Minnetonka forest. And land art is art that's made directly in nature. So it involves making structures or images in the landscape using natural materials such as stones, leaves, twigs, really any fallen natural object. And it can be done any time of year, but autumn is really an optimal time to do it because of the vivid colors of the changing leaves and the natural abundance of fallen objects such as acorns and seeds that are available to use on the ground. So we're really fortunate here at Minnetonka to have Minnetonka Forest close by and in walking distance to carry out this land art. And I found the students really enjoyed being outside in nature and the process of creating their pieces. So their final pieces ranged from really small and delicate pieces, almost like vignettes, to large structures like teepees and forts. The kids were really engaged throughout the whole process and had a lot of success in their art. Along the way too, we had valuable learning about art concepts like contrast, color theory, composition, texture, and line. So there was opportunity for these art concepts to be taught in a meaningful way as well.
For land art, we went outside. We went to the Minnetonka forest. We looked for objects like leaves, branches, and bark that have fallen off the ground. We used the objects that we made when we made art pieces. We tried to arrange them in a way to make them look artistic, and then we took pictures of them.
While being a new kid, one of the new kids in school, I thought it was fun and I got to interact with other kids. Also, one of my multiple intelligence strengths is body kinesthetic, so I also like working with my hands. I enjoy being outside. My group built a small pyramid that looked like a campfire. Also, I built a large teepee made from fallen branches.
I want to thank Ms. Sawyers, Ms. Baczynski, and their students for proudly representing our school today and every day. Now let's check out what's been happening at Dr. D.W. Penner School.
Welcome to Dr. Penner.
Thanks to the Penner Parent Council for helping us make the sign.
Hi there, my name is Nicole Major and I have the honor and privilege of serving as Dr. Penner's principal. And at Dr. Penner, we really believe in belonging. Our community has been changing. We want to make sure that everybody is recognized and they have that sense of belonging as soon as they walk in the door. And so working with the parent council and talking with our students and doing surveys, we found one thing that would be really special would be to have a welcome in their home language. And so behind me, you can see a sign that encompasses 80 different languages so that when people do come through our doors, that they're feeling that connection instantly.
Hi, I'm Alvina and I'm in grade 5. My home language is Bengali. Shagodam means welcome. Hi, my name is Kushav. I'm in grade 5. My home language is Urdu and how you say welcome in my language is Kushamati.
Hi, my name is Yambe and I'm grade 5. My home language is Chinese and this is how you say welcome in Chinese, Huang Ying.
Hi, my name is Nishta and I'm in grade 6. At home I speak Punjabi and how you say welcome in Punjabi is Ji Ayanu.
Hi, my name is Katie. I'm in grade 5 and I speak 2 languages at home. One of them are English. Welcome.
The Dr. D.W. Penner Pandas are diverse communities of learners who demonstrate a gentle strength and strive to make a sense of belonging a priority through respect, kindness, and fun.
Thank you to our grade 5-6 students for helping us to say welcome. I'm Nicole Major, the principal at Dr. Penner's School. We are a K-6 elementary school with just over 150 students. It is the perfect size school where everyone knows each other's name. The most important thing that I wanted to share with everyone is my most sincere and heartfelt thank you. Thank you to our students and the Penner community for their continued support and understanding. Our students arrived already knowing how to navigate our new safety protocols, and we are so grateful. Thank you to all of the staff at Dr. Penner. We have a team philosophy at our school, and I am so proud and honored to work with a team that puts belonging front and center in every classroom, and staff who demonstrate passion and innovation every day. Lastly, thank you to our senior leadership team who have kept us safe and continue to lead us through this pandemic. With the support of Jared Suderman from Glenlawn, let's now take a look at this video on land-based learning in grade 1 with Mrs. Mackay.
I'm Lois Mackay, and I'm a grade 1 teacher at Dr. Penner's School. Today is October 21st, and it is also day 27 of the grade 1 class at Dr. Penner's School, embarking on a land-based learning journey. This was a goal for our school that we embarked on last year. With the advent of COVID and the safety and being outside, I pivoted my teaching. This has been an amazing, authentic learning journey for me and my students. The curriculums have proved themselves easy to adapt and integrate and cover in the outdoors. As a school, we also have a goal of belonging, and through our time in the forest, my students have been building trusting bonds with me and each other as they dive deep into learning in an environment that was quite foreign to most of us when we started. Land-based learning is a silver lining in this pandemic period for my students, and my teaching is forever changed because of it.
Tell me, what's your favorite thing about the forest?
My favorite thing is snow and a tree.
The leaves are covering the forest, and the snow is warm, pretty and warm.
The birds are interesting. My favorite part of the forest is the fallen trees and the sticks.
Good evening. My name is Mike Heilman. I'm the principal of Glenwood School. I would like to thank you for taking the time to hear a little bit about Glenwood. The main focus at Glenwood over the first 2 months of school has been to ensure that we create a sense of belonging and community while ensuring safety protocols are followed. We've streamlined entry and exit for staff by using a QR code to sign in and out. We also track movement between cohorts the same way. This allows us to have very accurate data if we ever need it for contact tracing. All classrooms are set up with 2 meters distancing between students. Some teachers move very quickly between spaces to ensure that everyone is safe. Since parents and guests have very limited access to the school, we would like to invite you in for a glimpse of how we have set up Glenwood for safety. We are lucky enough to have a big old building here, which we can keep our cohorts completely separate from each other, including all learning spaces and washrooms. Of course, the downside of the situation is that there are some teachers and students who never see their friends from the other side of the building. Since we are a project-based learning school from kindergarten to grade 8, we have lots of opportunity to address this. Staff has worked really hard to reach beyond their cohort by either bringing communities into their classrooms or getting out into the community around the school. The following video will show a few examples of what we are doing.
All right, yeah, so this is our outdoor learning space. One of the main reasons why we come out here as much as possible is because nature provides a certain level of calm and ability to learn and explore and have this inquiry of discovery and play that allows kids to learn on a much more deeper and personal level. Also, it is allows us to get out into the community and kind of bring that back to the classroom in a time where we're trying to be distant. We're lucky in this community to have such a natural resource right next to us. So it feels like a shame to not come out and explore and discover and learn and take part in something so beautiful.
I liked our outdoor classroom because it has some rivers and there's a lot of animals here.
For our project this year, the grade 5-6 cohort worked collaboratively to create a monthly newscast and newspaper to improve the communication between Glenwood School and the Glenwood community.
We're going to use both printed and electronic versions of the Winnipeg Free Press as a reference for our students so that they can then inform their school community about what's going on at Glenwood.
Our hope is to bring the work that Glenwood students are doing out into the community, since we can't bring the community into our school the way we usually would.
This Adopt a Tree project, they've picked a tree and they've collected information about it. We now are using inquiry to try to establish what tree type it is. They really got involved in this project more than I thought they would, and they are quite fond of their trees. They've named them.
And what's your tree's name that you adopted?
Cynthia. Cynthia was this very tall tree with a bunch of branches from about the middle of the tree and up. She had really gorgeous yellow leaves, and then about like 3 days later, now they're all gone.
Good evening. I'm Darren Baker, principal of Windsor School. Known as the Wildcats, we are a kindergarten to grade 8 school with roughly 150 students. On top of the Windsor students, this year we also welcomed 65 students from École Varennes. We have around 40 amazing staff working at Windsor School, and they are working extremely hard every day. This includes teachers, educational assistants, custodians, clinicians, librarians, and me. We are very proud of our students and our community. One thing that's really exciting about us is that in 2 years, Windsor School will turn 100 years old. A goal at Windsor School has always been to create community and a strong sense of belonging. We want everyone to feel welcome and safe. Windsor is a small school, and because of that, students have grown up together and have become very close. Our team made it a priority to continue to foster these relationships with all students. We did not want students to only interact with a small number of peers each day. In order to follow safety guidelines and protocols, our staff needed to be creative. In past, our grade 7 and 8 students have been able to move into different courses, and student groups were flexible. This year, students have had to remain in one classroom and be with the same group all day. To safely allow students to expand their relationship bubble, our junior high team came up with the idea of having a common break. At 1:30 each day, all of our junior high students go outside together to build community. Let's take a look at what that looks like.
We noticed that the kids were having a difficult time being in one space in one classroom for the entire day without the ability to move place to place, as the teachers were. So we decided with my team, Gio Ligotti and Dan Winters, that if we could create a common time for all three of the classes to meet as one cohort, that they could intermingle with one another, that would be helpful to them.
Since this year we're not moving to different classes for science and that kind of stuff, we don't get to burn much energy in class. So then it's good to come out here so we can burn some energy and then focus better when we get back into the class for the rest of the day. And like, it really helps me think, and it's just something to look forward to. We don't have gym on that day because I'm a sports person. I like sports a lot. And yeah, it's generally also, since we're in smaller classes, I can't get to see some of my friends who were in my class last year, so I can see them in that 45 minutes when I'm with those people. And we could play like football, foursquare, volleyball, and yeah, all those kind of stuff.
Being able to play outside and play foursquare and see all my friends, because a bunch of my best friends aren't in my class, so I don't get to see them, especially because we don't have mixed classes anymore and there's only 15 people. So I get to see them again.
It's really, really nice because the classes, we used to have 2 grade 7-8 classes, but because of COVID, we've split into 3. And almost all of my friends aren't in my class. So it's that one time of the day that I actually get to see them and talk to them and be with them. And it's been really, really hard because we've all been in different classes. And it's also nice because the only things we have outside is gym. And that's, we're doing this, we're doing this. But with this, we can just do whatever we want. We can go and talk, we can play foursquare, we could play volleyball, or I think someone had like a soccer or a football game going on. And it's really nice just to be able to get outside and see the people that we're used to being with all the time, but we can't. So it's nice to get together again.
In the 6 weeks that we've done this, there's been almost no problems. The kids really appreciate it, and honestly, it helps staff members too. So it gives us a chance to meet together with one another and to talk a little bit. So it's been really, really helpful to everybody.
Another way that we have worked to create belonging at Windsor School is to organize flexible, mixed groupings amongst our grade 5s and 6 students. Our teachers wanted students to be together, and though it wasn't possible each day, they have created a rotation of groups so all kids have the opportunity to interact with other students throughout the 6-day cycle. I'll let Shauna Tate and Colleen Neal, 2 of our phenomenal classroom teachers, to explain why they wanted to do this and how it works.
Hi, my name is Colleen Neal. I'm a 5-6 teacher at Windsor School.
Hi, I'm Shauna Tate and I teach grade 5-6 at Windsor School.
So I really started thinking about, is there a way where the kids could see everyone and we could be one community of 40 and just be together, but in 3 different spaces, and every day vary it. And we just wanted the kids to feel like when they walked in the door that, oh, I know someone here. My bud, if I don't see my bud today, I'm going to see them tomorrow in my classroom.
The 5-6 students come in the morning and they check the schedule to see which room they're in. They find their bin and go to their spot that has been chosen for them in whatever room they're in for the day. You can see that there are 9 groups that we've separated all of our 5-6 students into, and every day of the cycle they are in a different combo of groups so that they're able to be with all of their friends, and they love it because they get to be with everybody in grade 5-6 at some point in the 6-day cycle.
And so it was really about creating a sense of safety and belonging for those students, that when they came here, they knew that they were going to know everybody in their community. It's great to see them come in and be excited to see, oh, I'm in a room with so-and-so today.
I like how we switch groups every day to see new people. We get to see everyone every day because we switch groups and we can see everyone all the time. And I also like that we have more gym every day too.
Get to see our friends every day. We're in new groups every classroom, and it's good.
Good evening and welcome to St. George School. I'm Robbie Major, the principal of the school. I'd like to introduce you to our vice principal, Susan Ciasco. I'd also like to introduce you to a very special guest. His name's George. Our first video will highlight how many of the amazing learning opportunities have not changed despite the pandemic. The video will also focus on some of our learning practices and learning environments that have had to change. But students and staff have done an amazing job adjusting and thriving in their new environment. Welcome to St. George School.
Welcome.
St. George School is home to over 400 staff and students who come from 38 different countries and speak over 31 different languages.
Although we're in a global pandemic, in education, some things are different, but many things remain the same. Today we're going to highlight those. Welcome to Mr. Benson's room.
One of the practices that has remained the same throughout the pandemic is the use of mindfulness. We achieve this through the use of yoga.
It helps to ground the students and prepare them for learning.
Welcome to Miss Lavoisier's grade 1-2 class.
You're going to notice that her class is arranged with 2-meter distancing to accommodate physical distancing and also regular routines in the classroom such as story time.
We're very excited that our music program is able to continue with added safety precautions.
Instruments and chairs are sanitized after each use.
Welcome to grade 3, where the students are always excited to see Dr. Oster. Welcome to our grade 7-8 classroom.
Something that does look a little bit different is some of our learning environments. This is a grade 7-8 class that is using 2 meters of physical distancing. Many thanks to our staff, students, and community for helping us highlight our new normal. A special thanks to Jared Suderman for his work filming and editing our next clip. Our second clip will focus on the well-becoming of our school community. St. George School has a rich history of making community connections a priority. We achieve this through constant communication with students, staff, and our broader school community. During the pandemic, more now than ever, it is important to connect with our community. Some of our families required a helping hand due to the pandemic, or often just needed someone to chat with.
At St. George School, we pride ourselves on taking care of each other and creating an environment where belonging is a priority. It's not uncommon for our community to check in on us and for us to check in on them, like any family would. So let's take a look at some of our community connections.
Okay, I'm Glenlawn. I'm the school social worker at St. George School. So something St. George has really prided themselves on doing is maintaining those contacts that we have with our families by delivering food, delivering pampers, and that was able to foster relationships with our parents and our children in the community.
All the staff, the teachers, they've been so good to us. Our school division has helped us a lot. And you guys stepped up and you guys did an awesome job doing it. And I appreciate it, not just for me, but for the whole community.
It's a great community, great support here. I had no concerns about letting my daughter come back to school or anything like that. I knew that if she came to school, she was going to be well taken care of and protected. World of support here for that.
Hello, my name is Jill Tanner. I'm a school psychologist with Louis Riel School Division to help support and focus on the well-being and mental wellness of the school community. I've been sharing resources, connecting in person with school staff, families, and students, and have provided in-class supports such as classroom lessons on well-being.
St. George is an awesome school because they have stand up for our parents, listen to us. They basically helped us a lot through the pandemic right now, and it's still going and we're still getting help.
Good evening, students and parents. I'm Ross Cathers, principal of Samuel Berlin School. Samuel Berlin is a kindergarten to grade 8 school located in South St. Vital, and it's home to over 450 students and about 65 staff. For our chapter of this event, we've chosen to highlight some of the great activities that are going on at school. After being out of school for remote learning in summer for 5 months, and coming back to many changes in class configurations and the way our school is set up, we decided to begin the year focusing on belonging and building belonging and looking at each individual and what do they need to be successful. Our first example is grade 1-2 students in teaching. Teachers are here to describe how they did that.
Hi, my name's Miss Beth.
And I'm Miss Armstrong, and we both teach grade 1-2 at Samuel Berlin School. So at the beginning of the school year, we felt it was especially important to establish a strong sense of community. So we looked to the book Just Ask by Sonia Sotomayor, who inspired us to look at our class as a garden of learners. In our class garden, each plant, our learners, is unique and needs something a little bit different to grow.
This project is all about us.
So looking at our project, there are 4 different pieces that we focused on.
We had them think about their physical traits, to write in their leaves and petals, because these are the parts that we can see.
We wrote like what we look like in the outside. So I'll just read one. I have freckles and like you're little or you're big.
Next on the stems, we had the students write the names of people who support them, just as stems support plants.
Like parents, brothers, pets.
And in the soil, we had students write traditions and values that they do with their family.
Like maybe like to go camping and hockey and fishing.
So for the roots, we had students think of words that describe who they are on the inside.
What stuff that you can't see about me, because you can't see roots.
So when we finished, each plant represented a student, but all together we see ourselves as a garden of learners, growing together and learning together.
Thank you to these students and teachers. Another example of a learning activity that we've chosen to highlight is with a group of grade 5-6 students along with their teacher. They participated in an engaging learning activity that involved learning outdoors, reconciliation, and Indigenous perspectives at the end of September for Orange Shirt Day.
So we had an orange shirt committee, and we had some meetings to figure out how we wanted to represent and do the orange shirt activity. At that time, I instantly was thinking about orange shirts hanging in trees. So we went through and we went pretty much full out, where it's just like we wanted to have everything come together in a nice circle. The medicine wheel, just the path itself being outside, everything had to be nature-based and circle, which is a huge thing in Indigenous culture.
I think it's amazing how people are fighting for Indigenous rights, from what people have taken their rights from them, and just making it the Indigenous lesser than, when we all should be equal.
With the walk itself, it brought people together. It was wonderful. Each day my students were so excited. It's like, oh, there's another classroom. There's another classroom checking out our shirts.
I saw a lot of people, not people from the school, but a lot of people that I know that don't go to the school anymore, that used to. They were usually walking around every day, and they always check them.
My goal for this, for the teachings for my students, was to let them know the importance of what one person can do, that we're all a part of something. We each one of us are a part. Whether you zoom in or zoom out with that microscope, it goes from the family to the classroom, to the school, to the community, to the province, to the world. And that is the whole thing with the circle. We're all part of something. We all belong. And that is the most important thing.
Hi, my name is Dion Deere, and I am in my 7th year as a principal of Glenlawn Collegiate. I have the distinct privilege of guiding the young children you just saw as they finish their final years in public education. Being able to share in this experience, even if only for their last few years, is an absolute pleasure. We are a true family of schools and love to share in all parts of the children's educational journey. We are a 9 to 12 school, which also includes 2 programs that educate students to the age of 21. We have 130 staff that each play a specific and collective role in caring for our youth. The most important part of GCI is the 920 students, and here is just one of them to tell you a bit about our school.
It started? Okay, hi, my name is Georgia, and I'm in grade 9, so I'm new to Glenlawn. I really like being back at school. Learning at home was a challenge for me because I'm a very social person, so being around my peers was something I was looking forward to. Even with only half my den, I already feel like the social aspect of school is back. I was a little bit nervous when I started because most of what I imagined about high school was from movies and TV shows. Hundreds of people crowding the halls, not being able to find my classes. But then I got here. There aren't hundreds of people crowding the halls, and we did a run-through in June, so now I can find my classes easily. Everyone has been really friendly and helpful. It's been really comfortable. We're all distanced in the classroom and stuff. I feel really safe. Overall, I feel very welcomed at Glenlawn. I feel like I'm part of the community, and I'm looking forward to the next 4 years.
Thank you to Georgia for that great video. Each year brings a set of challenges, but also some great joys, and this year is no exception. This year's COVID challenge has never swayed us from what is important here, and that is a sense of belonging. Our sense of family and living by our hashtag, we are better together, keeps us grounded every day. Here is a little clip to show you what that looks like.
So I hope you found this as insightful as I have, my hope is that the interest will be in having us continue these what we're calling town hall events. But if I'm honest, right, here we are at the 57-minute mark, and we're only now taking questions. And if I'm honest, that's a traditional town hall, right? It's just a lot of questions and answers. But we felt it important, again, given how our lives have changed of late, to provide you with that opportunity to get into schools and see how we're doing. And of course, we're highlighting the successes we're having. But that's not meant to suggest that we're not having struggles. We're struggling. We're working really hard to make this joyful and to continue learning in our schools. It's requiring everyone to give it their best. And I'm so grateful that I'm a part of a community that's working so hard. Everyone, all staff, students, and families gathered here this evening. All right, so let's turn to the questions. If you want to hang out for a few more minutes, I know, again, I'm not keeping with my promise that we'd be done in an hour. You have on the screen the Thought Exchange, this interesting technology we've been using for a couple of years in LRSD. I keep promoting it with teachers and principals and vice principals. It's available to everyone to use. I'll even see if parents on parent committees might want to use it. See if that's possible. All right. If that's possible, we'll talk some more later about how you could have this same opportunity that I have here. So first question I see up here is, are there going to be virtual parent-teacher conferences? So there's some AI happening here, just so you know, so the top thoughts are making their way to the top. Top thoughts in terms of the sharing. So yeah, there are going to be virtual parent-teacher conferences using Teams like we're doing tonight, or the phone. And you'll be hearing more about that very soon. Will all staff now be wearing medical grade masks? Do you want to do that one, Lisa?
Yeah, sure. So right now, all staff who are moving between and working between cohorts will be wearing medical grade masks, as well as all substitutes coming into our schools.
Why is online learning not set up so students can move between online and in class as needed? So, good question. So what have we learned about online learning? I think I shared the survey in the parent post, but I think I did, where I shared the results of a survey we did where we surveyed kids about their online learning experience in the spring. And what we learned was that it varied, and it was challenging. And in fairness, we had to learn how to do this at a moment's notice without any playbook. So what did we do? We spent the summer thinking about online learning and what we needed to do to get it right. And what we needed to do to get it right was, for those kids we knew that for medical reasons couldn't be in school, despite all our efforts to make it safe, we really needed to do right by them and their families. So we went to work all summer long building learning from home school, K-12, French immersion and English. And so we now have a school that has a growing student population of over 500 students. And we're learning a lot about how to do it right. So that when we find ourselves in a situation because we've gone beyond orange to red, if ever that is to happen in the metropolitan region, well, we'll be in a much better place in terms of supporting teachers in building their capacity to deliver online learning to a large portion of the population, but not all the population. Even in red, the province has made clear that essential workers, and there's going to be documentation coming out soon to make clear who those essential workers are, that essential workers, that their children are in school, being taught, are in childcare. And so it's complex. I could go on about my answer to this question. You know, sometimes the simplest of questions require lots of explanation. And so right now, schools are safe places to be, and we need to continue to be that for as long as we can. Right, so some great statements there about how we're doing. We'll also, let's go on to, okay, why is, no, let's go, I'm sorry, I'm not scrolling, I'm just, mandatory masks, I think we've talked about. Will I have more opportunity to connect with my kids, teachers this year in a virtual manner? We talked about that. How are you ensuring each school is actually adhering properly to the mandates? Some schools seem to be a lot more lenient than others. So on distancing, you know, so I read this and I say to myself, okay, if anyone is aware, staff, student, parent, that we're not being as vigilant as we can, it's our collective, it's our individual responsibility to each of us as a collectivity to say something about it, to approach those that we witness not quite being as vigilant as they should, to talk through that, to address that. So that's what I have to say about this, is that, you know, we're all human. No one is perfect. No one is expected to be perfect. And we have to find a way to be supportive of each other, to keep ourselves vigilant, to keep ourselves resilient. We have to do it in a caring way, in a collaborative way, if it's going to work, and if it's going to stick, and if we're going to see it our way through it. Again, okay, good comments there, very positive, that's nice. What type of mental health supports are in place for students? Well, that's an important one. Marlene, do you want to?
Good evening, everyone. First of all, I want to speak to a long-standing focus in the River School Division on understanding and developing well-being and wellness. And so one really key focus within that effort is to think about how we're developing resiliency in our children, youth, and in our communities. And really at the core of that is understanding our capacity and developing our capacity to cope with the challenges of day-to-day life. And with day-to-day living, there are the good times, the hard times, and the bumps along the way. So you have whole school communities that are focusing in that effort. And then also teams of people within the core group of the school administration, student services, and our clinicians who really keep a pulse on what's going on within our student community and have supports that are very specific to the challenges anyone might be facing and problems that need support. And so we're very, very fortunate in the River School Division to have these student services teams in each of our schools, supported by our administrators, student services teachers, school psychologists, school social workers, occupational therapists, speech language pathologists, and physiotherapists. And that core group keeps that pulse and provides support to classroom, to groups of students, and for any individual student who needs some very specific individual supports, those teams of people are there for them and their families.
Thanks, Marlene. Why are children allowed to have such close contact every recess? So again, it's a challenge, right? To spend the day together. And went outside over the last while. I think we've been allowing ourselves some freedom. But now, given where we find ourselves and how the virus is evolving, we really do need to remind each other just how important it is to be mindful of the protocols. And you need to know we're constantly revisiting those protocols, asking questions of experts in public health and our colleagues in government to see, are we interpreting it all correctly? Should we be interpreting it differently? Should our protocols around masks and distancing evolve or not? And we're going to look to the experts in health sciences to guide us always. What is being done to support teacher wellness and reduce their stress and anxiety? Well, that's an equally important question. And a lot of those, a lot of what Marlene said is true for all of us at all ages, is we need to be there for each other. And you know what? The honest truth is I feel I'm never doing enough. I really feel, I really struggle. It just feels like it's never enough. As much as I spend all my day, my working days, and if I'm honest, evenings and nights, thinking about, are we doing enough? I too often feel it's not enough. It's never enough. So it has started. How we've tried to keep everyone well is by just being so focused to do the best we can to make for a safe, livable, enjoyable learning environment. And one way we keep well is, I see some comments interspersed in the questions, some very positive comments. And I just would ask us all on this call, and as we reach out to others in the community, to just take the time to let people know you care. And you know that we're doing our best. We're not perfect, but we're trying to do our best. And that can go a long way to help people feel resilient and well. Know they're cared for. What more here? As COVID-19 cases continue to rise in Winnipeg, what additional preparations is the division taking to ensure both students and staff remain safe? Well, right now we're in orange, and again we've achieved 2 meters of distancing in schools and a series of protocols. And it starts, of course, with staying home if you're not well. That's critically important. We're learning as well that when we leave schools right now, Dr. Rusin is asking us to really, at the moment in the city of Winnipeg, keep our circle small. Like I'm hearing Dr. Rusin tell me, keep it small. When you leave work, Christian, when you get home, you're just going to spend time with those closest to you in the home that you share, and you're not going to get out and mix it up with others. And so that's critically important, right? That all of us in this building here and across this school system of ours, that we be vigilant in that way as well. That we keep that circle small right now when thinking of the workplace and how we can do our part to keep it safe. Now, I was going to add also to that question that we're right now actually planning for red is what we're doing. We're spending some time looking at all of the implications if a school system were to go to red. And so one of the things we're waiting for is that finalizing of the list of those workers that are deemed essential. And then we need to look at our student population and determine who are the parents of these children, who are the parents that are deemed essential workers, so that we can ensure that we have schools to be of service for the children of those essential workers, kindergarten to grade 6, that in red will continue to go to school or be provided childcare. So that's actually a lot of what we're doing behind the scenes right now, is thinking and preparing for another eventuality. I'm not suggesting we're going to red anytime soon. That's not what I'm saying. I'm simply saying we constantly have got to be thinking about all eventualities and planning for them. Should all staff wear medical masks? Lisa, did you?
Well, right now we're following public health measures in their guidance on who and when disposable medical grade masks are to be worn. A lot of our staff are wearing reusable masks, and I'm going to say a large percentage of the time. Our school offices are set up for physical distancing, and they're also mitigating how much traffic comes into a school office. And I think the other part of that question also asked about staff rooms. And in our staff rooms, a lot of our schools have identified the maximum capacity for staff within that staff room, with social distancing seating set up in them. Some of our schools might have multiple staff rooms for their staff, again, so that when staff are in a particular staff room, there is the social distancing and that masks are taken off for the purpose of when they're eating and drinking. So I know our staff, and in my visits into schools, our staff are wearing reusable masks, and the disposable medical masks at this time are primarily used for crossing cohorts and for all our substitute teachers.
Thanks, Lisa. Next question. In what circumstances would LRSD impose mandatory remote learning for elementary school children? My kids love being back in school, plus I need to work. Okay, well, and so this, again, I'm going to, without being too redundant, if and when, if ever schools are, if we move to red, right now the planning suggests that students would be learning from home in grades 7 to 12, and in kindergarten to grade 6, students of essential workers would be in school, and others would be learning from home. Of course, all of that planning is constantly being refined as well at a provincial level. But you know, what can happen at any time that we're aware of, because it's happened for some in Winnipeg and Manitoba, is there are times when at a school level, in a school, there may be the virus may be spreading within the school population, and public health determines for that school a certain portion of the population, or maybe at some point an entire school, although but public health would determine for a certain amount of time the children in this instance, the students in this instance, would learn from home. We'd have the school or a portion of the school would have to move to learning from home. And so I'm being suggested that time is escaping us here, and we'll leave it to one more question. And so let's find a question that's different from all the ones I've been responding to. Well, you know, let's go with the one there. Why were you proudly showing us a video of students being close without masks? Now, so again, right, so these videos were being taken at different times across the last while, and when outside, you may indeed in these videos have not seen some mask wearing, and children in some proximity for a brief moment went outside, and so when it comes to these behaviors, we're going to need to, especially when we find ourselves in the situation we're in right now in the city, think about being more vigilant about protocols, and the way we do that is by being there for each other and in a caring and collaborative way, letting each other know, is my answer to that question. And so it's not about pride with respect to some that might interpret the behavior as inappropriate and not following protocols. So I guess that's the last question I'll end it on, maybe. I guess. Okay, I'm being told stop. Okay, so what do I want to say to end the evening together? Well, next month, I'm hoping we're going to do something similar, but we're not going to do it if the feedback is such that this was not particularly helpful. So, like we did the last time we had a town hall in September, we're going to follow up with an email to participants with a link to a survey. And you'll let us know if this was worthwhile or not, if you think it would be of value to repeat again in November. You'll let us know whether you enjoyed the evening or not. I know we can always do better. I can always do better. So you're going to let me know, you're going to let us all know how we can improve, whether you liked what you saw or you didn't. And we'll see if we'll get an opportunity to do this again. No matter what, we're going to find opportunity to connect and communicate, because this is one of the essential ingredients that's going to have us navigate this journey that we're on safely and successfully, is ongoing communication and connectedness. We're in it together. So I want to thank you for joining us this evening, and to let you know we value each and every one of you. We value your perspectives. Please keep sharing with us. Be well. Take care.